Okay, so we're going to log into our OpenShift Origin installation. We've already got the Fabricate console running in the namespace here. You'll probably start to see some of the benefits we've have from our UX team. A lot of navigation and usability. Hopefully there's a lot of improvements around here. As for previous demos, I think we've kind of covered the one-click setup of all the developer and build tooling. We've previously run the CD pipeline template, so we've already got our Jenkins and Gogs server and Nexus server already running. We're going to switch over to the projects perspective. Here we're going to select just a default secret so that allows us to interact with the Cogs repository from the UI. Rather than importing a project, we're going to look at the new wizard to be able to create a project from the console. We're going to select the NodeJS example, give it a name. You can see some of the other examples we've been building up as well. After the name's been entered, we can click through to the next screen, which is probably familiar, where we select our pipeline. We've got two options here at the moment. These are kind of just basis examples for people to start with. We expect people to be able to reuse and extend to their own use cases. We can select the Canary release stage and approve and promote pipeline. Once we've selected that and created, we just then get taken to the dashboard. We can now see on the left hand side we've selected the source, and we can actually now see the project that we've just created. We've also got the Jenkinsfile because we selected that to be copied into the project. This is the backbone for the pipeline. You can see this is the Jenkinsfile that sits now with the source with the source of the project. After a git clone, it'll check to see if there's a Docker file actually in that project. If there's not one, it's going to actually choose use the default official Docker on build image to be able to create a Docker image for us to use using our new source code. We've also got a nice little groovy function to be able to generate the Kubernetes resources, as well as some nice functions to be able to apply the configuration to OpenShift, as well as then our human approval steps. This is just a very simple Node.js application that we're running. It's just going to expose a HTTP endpoint that we can be able to hit from our browser once it's running in the environment. This is the example that's been cloned from GitHub. Again, this is just really simple, but we've got a collection of different examples that all do kind of the same thing. The idea is so that we can try and start to choose the right language for the job. These are all trying to be fairly consistent in their uses at the moment. All right, if we go back to the dashboard, what's actually happened is the project has been created, and it's been created into our version control system. So it's actually created in Gogs. The build pipeline has been selected, and the job has been created in Jenkins. And Jenkins is now working away behind the scenes, running through that pipeline that we've just looked at of the Jenkins file. We can see now that the pipeline, the Canary release, and the rolling upgrade to staging environment is completed. And using the links from the UI from the dashboard, we can actually look at our Node.js application running in the environment. I don't know if you can see the logs here, but this is really just where we've done the Docker build, the Docker tagging, and also the Docker push into the Docker registry as well. That's all in the Canary release, all wrapped up nicely. So it's just a nice reusable function that's kind of consistent for all our different examples. Right the way, again, scrolling down through the logs, these are just the logs from the Jenkins console. We're able to proceed our human approval step, and that's going to deploy into our production environment. Now this is just an example for the human approval. We've already introduced chat tops, as well as looking at other approaches for our human approval, but it's just kind of really to demonstrate that step. So we've got a deployment into our production environment. We're going to go ahead and edit the source code of the Node.js sample, again using the UI, and because we've selected our secret at the start, we're able to commit that into Gogs, commit that change, and that's going to be it's going to be committed, and then a build pipeline is going to be triggered again. So we can see the other information that's on our dashboard at the moment. We've got the number of pods that are running in each environment, the number of instances. We also have the version as well of each of the application in each environment, as well as the commit ID as well. So it's clear that we can see what commit is in each environment too. This is going to run now, I think, in the background for about 30 seconds or so. And this is just Jenkins doing this, running through the pipeline. So if you remember, we're actually doing that perform canary release, which in turn is doing the Docker build and the Docker tag and the push as well. So this is building our application using Docker on builds as well. So we should see eventually that, yep, this is going to perform a roll. After the canary release is finished, it performs a rolling update of the staging environment. Here we can see the two different commit IDs, and if we link through, we can see the diff, and this is the change. So we've just put hello again. This is the new message we're going to see when we hit that endpoint. And let's go and look at it in the staging environment. Again, you can see up in the URL that this is the staging environment. The production environment is still the old message there. So we've got the two different versions running in each environment. Again, that's going to then ask for our approval to be able to deploy this into the next environment, into the production environment. And as you would expect, this is going to then perform that deployment, another rolling upgrade as well. And then we have consistent staging and production environment. So that's a Node.js application. We're just going to very quickly create another application using Swift. Again, using some of the quick starts that we've got, it's just going to expose a little web endpoint that we're able to hit from our browser. Let's just select that, give it a new name, and we're going to select the same pipeline. Again, next. Remembering that this is creating the project in our version control system, it's creating the job in Jenkins, and it's going to trigger our pipeline. That's going to run through in the background. What we can actually see here is the different environments that we've got. We've got the Node.js staging and the production environment. So these are the pods running in isolation in those different namespaces. Now we've already run our logging templates. So this includes Elasticsearch and Kibana. This will all be automated, but it's kind of really a bit of a sneak preview into some of the analysis we're able to perform on our pipelines. Every deployment currently that happens using the Jenkins pipeline will create an event. So we're now able to visualize and chart some really interesting information around understanding patterns within our pipelines. This is the number of deployments, and in each environment, each commit, each author as well. So that's kind of something exciting to look forward to as well. Heading back to the runtime perspective, we can see the different environments, and this is our Node example running. Again, you just hit up here, you perform the normal activities like scaling up the number of pods, for example. Okay, back to the default namespace. This is our Swift application that's being built at the moment. Again, really simple example. It's just creating a little web server, exposing a port, and it's just going to via a browser just return a nice little simple message. Okay, that canary release is just building that image. It should pop up to get applied to the staging environment. Yeah, there we go. Now it's created a new namespace for that Swift example. Again, we should be able to use the link, and we can see this is the example. This is the message from the source that we saw. Hopefully, this will start to give some confidence that we can have consistency in the way we build and release our software. With the use and leveraging containers and some awesome open source projects, hopefully you'll be able to try this out and feedback as well.